it's Deborah from the attic, and today I'm very excited to have something new, fresh, different to share with you today. You can see this is something from Pink & Main. Pink & Main make beautiful stamps and dies, and they have asked me to share the first of their new monthly subscription boxes. So these boxes will be launching on the 23rd of February, that's when you can buy these for sale, and I will provide a link below the video. And they will be shipping the boxes on March the 15th. They ask that people subscribe for a minimum of 3 months, but after that 3-month period you can cancel at any time. I haven't opened this box, I should tell you, I haven't looked in this. We're going to look into this together because I thought that would be more fun. The basic cost of the box will be $34.99, and the shipping will be added to the cost depending on where you live. So all of those details I would expect will be on the website for you to look at. And let's have a look in the box. This is it's a beautiful box, I'm very excited. Okay, let's see. This little bag is a gift with your first subscription box, and it's a welcome. It's a big generous welcome, isn't it? So that's a little card that tells you all about the craft subscription box. There's a button, a happy hello, that's very jolly. Oh, there's two. Oh, so there's some polymer stamps. Hello, hi, hey, hey. There's an outline and there's a solid colour one, so I guess you could do solid colour and then add the outline on the outside, or you could colour in where it has the line on the outside. That gives you a generous space to do any colouring in that you may want to do if you wanted to do something clever with your pens or your pencils. That gives you options. And then there's some little words here, happy there, a happy friend, girlfriend. Oh, beautiful. And then there are dies. So these dies, it looks as if they will match with these. So you can cut these out as well. Oh, fabulous. You can have fun playing with those. And tissue paper. I always keep my tissue paper. I like tissue paper. Look at this. It's a party. Is this a clue to what's inside? I think it may well be. So, oh, that's different. So this is in a really strong plastic wallet. Let me open this up and see. Actually, before I open this up, let me see what's underneath it. I think this is cardstock. Yes, it is. So what do we have here? 2 plain white cardstock. Oh, a nice embossed dotty reddy orange cardstock. This is so are these are all basil papers, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. Yep. Oh, there's a shiny one. So there's a plain white one. Look at that. That's got a little shimmer on it. Can you see that under the lights? Buff on that side, shimmery on that side. Plain buff yellow, buff green, and buff blue. Okay, I'm going to leave this here because this gives you a lovely little background. Do you know, I'm not even going to be nice about that. Let's just spill this all out and let's see what we have. That's really pretty. You get it's got the Pink & Main logo on there, and that's a great little storage bag, isn't it, for your monthly kit stuff. Ah, look at all this. So we have some glossy dots. These are called Birthday Boy. Looks like blue and a sort of a yellowy gold and a gold. And I imagine these are going to be self-adhesive. There are some little ribbons, little yellow ribbons. They're very sweet. Little yellow ribbons. Stamps. So, lots of sentiments. That's a nice big best wishes stamp. I love this. Happy birthday, a long stamp that you can put down one side of a card. Woohoo! Let's party, congratulations. Cheers. Some little stars and little dots. Cool. And dies. So there's a die here that will match the happy birthday stamp. Then maybe the star will match the star stamps as well. There's enough of those maybe to do that. And then there's a candle, and there's a balloon, and there's a balloon with a piece of ribbon or something dangling down from the balloon. Okay, we'll have some fun playing with those. Oh, envelopes. 4 envelopes, that's very generous. 4 lovely plain white envelopes. Always useful to have envelopes if you're making cards. Some nice twine or thread, that's like, it's nice and thick. And lovely colourful sequins. So I really like sequins, I really like the solid sequins, the ones that don't have the holes in them, because they, I don't know, they just look, when it's a sequin it's like, I kind of feel, because it's got a hole in it, I always feel a bit guilty that I haven't sewn it on. I feel like I should sew it on. But when they're solid like this, you think, great, I have an excuse, I just whack out the glue. Ah, beautiful. This is a wow embossing glitter. Metallic silver sparkle. That's very rich, sparkly. And an ink pad. Asphalt. I don't know how to say asphalt. Is it asphalt or is it asphalt? I'm sure. Somebody will know. Somebody can tell me. In beautiful. That's going to be a beautiful grey, so that's going to go really nicely with the silver. And then is this? Oh, there's another little button. Nice and colourful. And the final thing then is, it's a party. This is a 6x6 paper pad. It has 24 sheets. They are coloured, are printed on both sides. So you have to make decisions. These are all very bright and colourful. These are just so party. Wow. There's a lot in this kit. I'm going to make 3 cards using this kit. So let's play. For my first card, I want to use that really lovely happy birthday die, and I want to make a card that is bright and wowsome. So I've run this through my die cutter and I've selected a piece of bright and colourful paper. This is going to feature quite a lot in the card that I make. So I'm popping out the little letters. I've got a yellow piece of side folding card, and I've created this using some of the Basil cardstock. And now I'm going to line up this is like a stencil that's been created in the paper, and I'm lining this up on my yellow card. I'm going to use some repositionable tape. This is actually some post-it note stuff, and I'm going to make sure it's held firmly in place, and then using a really fine nozzle of glue. This is just standard PVA glue, it just happens to be in a really thin nozzled bottle. I'm going to apply some glue to the yellow card, and then I'm going to put the letters that were cut from the die into the little gaps on my stencil in my paper. To help me keep everything sealed down, I'm going to use one of my stamp blocks, because that will, it's like having an extra pair of hands. It helps keep everything glued down in position. Now my card says happy birthday on the right hand side, and I've cut some strips from the same paper, and I've done them in different widths, and they're going to be glued onto the card as well. And I've also taken the word friend, and I've used the asphalt, the grey ink pad from the kit, to stamp the word friend underneath happy birthday. I've glued down the strips of paper. Again, they're just glued down randomly. They're in different widths and thicknesses, and I quite like that randomness. And to make the card really bright and shiny, I'm going to glue on a few of those little sequins. I'm putting little dots of glue onto my card and then attaching the sequins on top of that. And I've got a little pokey tool, and that will help me push them down without the sequins sticking to my fingers. And that's my first card finished. For my second card, I'm going to do some embossing. So I've started with a green side folding card that I've created using the cardstock from the kit, and I've taken one of the largest sentiments and I'm covering that over with the embossing ink, and I'm going to put that in the bottom right of my card. I want to leave plenty of space because of the other elements I'm going to be adding in a moment or two. I'm covering over the sentiment with white embossing powder, and I'm going to heat set this. Before I apply the heat to this embossing powder, I'm going to make sure I get my heat tool really nice and hot. That way you reduce the risk of warping the card. And I hope you can see the transition as it goes from powder to solid. I still think that's a magical moment in card making. So I've got best wishes in the bottom of my card, and I'm going to add my extra elements. Now I took the balloon that had the trailing thread and I cut this out of the white cardstock 4 times for each balloon that I'm going to create. I'm going to make 2 balloons all together. I'm going to use my fine nozzle glue bottle to layer these balloons on top of each other. I'm adding little dots of glue to the first balloon, and then I'm going to take another balloon and I'm going to stick it on top. Using a fluid glue like this gives you a little bit of wiggle room. You can move the balloon around to make sure that the 2 sit on top of each other perfectly. Once I'm happy with those 2, I'm going to add a few more dots, and then I will stick the third balloon on top. And what I'm doing is building up height. Now I'm going to use a piece of the packaging, and I'm going to cut this down to make 2 squares that will be large enough to be glued onto the top of the 3 layers of balloons. So it goes 3 balloons, then add some dots of glue, then add a piece of packaging, and then once the packaging is in place, I'll add a few more glue dots and I'll add the final balloon onto the top of that. So we will have a stack of 4 balloons. What that means is that we've got space now underneath our little stack of balloons to create a tiny little shaker card within the balloon. Once the balloon is all layered up, I'm going to put that first one to one side and I'm going to work on the second balloon. While the second balloon is drying, I'm going to take my scissors to the first balloon and I'm going to cut off the excess packaging. This leaves me with enough of a gap underneath the packaging layer to add sequins. And that's what we're going to do next. I've got them both the right way up. Make sure you've got the deep piece ready to go face down on your card, and I'm going to add the glue before I put the sequins into position on the card. That way I'm all ready. When the sequins are in exactly the right place, I'm ready to stick the balloon down and capture them. I'm using a little metal spoon just to help me position all of those little sequins without them sticking to my fingers, because at this point I am a bit gluey. That's them all in place, and I'm going to use my stamp block again to help me hold that balloon in place until it glues completely. Can you hear the dog? He's really excited about this. And that's our second card completed. Now if you wanted, you could cut this from different coloured cardstock. Here's a different colour that I cut out as well for an experiment. And don't throw away the central bits. We're coming up to that time of the year when you might want to be making Easter eggs. So on my white one you can see I've drawn a line like a crack with an Easter egg breaking open. And on my second balloon, that little teal blue coloured one, I've cut out the 2 pieces so they would make fantastic eggs. Now for our third card, and I've taken the blue cardstock from the set and I'm going to use the solid greetings from the gift that is part of this first kit. So I've taken the words that say hello, hey and hi, and I've spaced these words out quite generously. Then I'm going to take the silver glitter embossing powder that also came as part of the kit, and I'm going to sprinkle this over these, and off camera I'm going to heat set these. You can already see how shimmery they are, and this is what they look like when they're heat set, and I think that's a stunning effect. Now I've got the dies and I'm going to position them over each of the letters. I'm going to use one of my post-it notes again to hold these in place while I run the whole thing through my die cutter. And when I've done that, you can see that the little words are beautifully cut out. I was really blown out by this. I thought this was a brilliant effect. I loved it. You can have them horizontally or vertically, whichever suits your project. I've got a piece of white side folding card, and I've also taken one of the shimmery pieces of card from the card kit, and I've taken a little bit of a strip of paper from one of the pages in the paper pack. This very narrow piece I'm going to make as a sort of a silver ribbon on my card. So I've just run it through some of the embossing ink, and now I'm adding the embossing powder to make sure I get it on the right side. And I've heat set this, and you can see that this makes a really nice silver ribbon. So now I need to add some craft foam to the back of my slightly broader strip, because I want to make a little bit of a 3D impression on this card. I'm going to glue down the first piece of card. This is going down onto my white side folding base card. Once that's in place, I'm going to glue in the other strips. So I'm just seeing how much I need to trim off the silver piece to make sure that it's the right size for my card. I'm going to put the silver piece to the extreme left-hand edge, and I decided it was easier just to draw a line of glue in a straight line down the card rather than try and apply it to the silver piece of paper. Now I'm adding glue to the craft foam that I stuck onto the reverse of my broader piece of paper from the paper pack, and I'm going to use my block to help hold those down while they glue into position. My letters I also want to be three-dimensional. I want them to be as high as the thicker banner, and so I'm going to use my craft foam again just to add to the back of these little strips. That's all it needs, some little strips just to add to the reverse of my letters, and again using my stamp block to hold them down while the glue sets. Now I'm going to play around with the positioning of these and decide exactly where I want them to go, and when I'm happy with them, I'll glue them down. Again, the stamp block is your friend, and it will help hold them into position while everything sets. And that's my card finished, and I hope that you enjoyed that introduction to the first of the Pink and Main kits. I want to tell you something else about Pink and Main. On the back of each piece of packaging, the owner, Michelle, explains that she was born with a form of muscular dystrophy, and each year a portion of profits from Pink and Main is given to the charity MDA, who support others. I'm going to leave you with some close-ups of the cards that we've made today and a little music, and until we meet again, take care.